Merry meet you guys. Alright, so this is just a video that's going to talk a little bit about life after death or near-death experiences or what happens when you die. This is sometimes considered a touchy subject because a lot of people don't really feel comfortable about discussing this issue, but you know, I kind of, and not to sound morbid or dark, but I live my life most of the time thinking about things like this. Not in a sense of suicidal or, you know, things like you're killing people or anything like that, by no means. But what I mean by it is I spend a lot of time, you know, contemplating and thinking about, you know, what could happen, what does happen, and what will happen when you die. I like to watch the show called I Survived, Beyond and Back. Now that show is I believe it's on History or the Bio channel. I'm not exactly sure what channel, but I do have it. I usually always set it up to record, just kind of check it later, because I hate commercials. So I always like to fast forward through the commercials a lot. Anyway, basically, the show is about, if you haven't seen it, the show's about people that have potentially or obviously have died and has come back, died and come back to life. Basically, they'll tell their story about what happened. It's usually some sort of a lot of times it's a dramatic tragedy of things that happen to these people, and it, you know, it's really sad hearing their stories, but you know, it really gets you to thinking when they start talking about what's happened to them and dying and essentially seeing the other side. That's the part that is the most interesting to me, because I love to hear stories about that, because I'm a true believer in life after death. I can't say what will happen because I have no clue to know, but I can share a little bit of my personal opinions on what I think happens. And alright, so basically on this show they talk about their experiences, and usually after they've, you know, they will tell what happened to them, and then it'll show that they died. Okay, so when they die, most of their stories are all pretty similar. You know what happens, like when you die, you start to feel this closing in and darkness, and then automatically you're somewhere else. And some people say that they, you know, will be standing above their bodies and see themselves laying there, but not feel any pain, or, you know, not feel any kind of hate or disrespect or anything. You know, it's like it's all just love where they're at. Most of the time you will find on these shows that these people are all having the same experience. They die, and then they begin to see a light in the distance, and then possibly a deceased relative that they haven't seen in years, since they passed away, walking to greet them. And you know, this experience is, you know, mind-blowing, really, because you don't really know what's going on there, but you know that it's somewhere special. I mean, they're somewhere in either a altered dimension. It could be like a spiritual plane of a different type of existence where they're at. Okay, so usually they'll see themselves, you know, seeing their family or lost loved ones or something, and when they do, that's usually when they'll know they are somewhere else. You know, they're in this other dimension, this other existence, because they're experiencing it. They feel it. They feel overwhelmed with love and joy and excitement and peace and happiness. And they're aware, I guess you could say, either subconsciously or spiritually aware of this existence, because they're there in that existence at that time. This is just an interesting subject, because basically I'll just go ahead and discuss what I believe. Okay, so my grandmother passed away. It's been, I guess, a little over 7 months now, and that has been very hard for me to deal with, because me and her were very close. She was my grandmother, but we were like, she was like my best friend, so to speak. Growing up, I spent a lot of time with her, and I stayed with her a lot while my parents might have been working, because I homeschooled the last couple of years of my school year, from like 11th and 12th grade, I went ahead and homeschooled. So during that time, I stayed with her a lot, but also, just throughout my life, me and her developed a close bond, and we were always really close. So when she passed away, it was a very sad and traumatic situation for me and my mom and the rest of my family. But when she died, I was with her, and it wasn't something you want to see happen to someone that you love. You don't want to see them be taken from you here. Sorry. Anyway, you want them to stay here. You want to be able to experience them in life. You want to be able to still talk to them and have them in your life and have them as your friend. But anyway, I was with her when she passed. In fact, a lot of my family was there. I mean, my family's very close, so we were all there. My mom, aunts, cousins, friends, my sister, we were all there. I mean, there was probably 20 of us in the room when she passed away, and me and my mother was standing over her when she took her last breath. And when she was slowly about to go, she was with her family. She was with her dad that she lost. They were greeting her. They were standing at the spiritual door, so to speak, telling her it's your time. It's your time to come home. And, it was her time to go home. She was 76, but, it's just, when you think about it, it's just so sad because you miss them so much here, but you know that you almost want to feel sorry for yourself rather than sorry for them, because they've actually essentially gone home while we're still here on this plane. I believe that when you die, your spirit separates from your body and you move on to the next life stage or the spiritual plane. What happens when you get there, I'm not exactly sure, but what I do feel and sense and what I try to, think happens is when you die, you move on to this next plane, this other existence of life. I think you're able to experience lost loved ones. I believe you're able to somewhat essentially create your own reality in the spiritual life. If you want to come back, I believe that could be possible via reincarnation, or I believe that if you want to stay in the spirit plane and help others or help other spirits or things like that, I believe that's a possibility. I also believe that there are lessons that we learn, whether here, that helps us when we move on to the spirit plane, because people always say that we have a reason here, right? Like we have a purpose. Like that's not just a Christian thing. A lot of people believe we have some sort of a purpose here. So a lot of times will believe that we do have a purpose here, and I believe our purpose is to learn and grow spiritually. So I believe that we're all learning lessons here, and all these lessons that we learn will essentially help us to achieve that higher spiritual self-existence when we do die. I believe dying is not anything someone should fear. I believe that when it's our time, and it's something to be welcomed, and it hurts so bad, though. I know when you lose someone close, it hurts so bad. You just want to pretty much cry and ask why. Why do they have to leave me now? But, we can't live like that. We have to know that they're the ones that are crying for us in an essential sense. And also, like, if I started to cry and miss my grandmother and wish she was here and I can't believe she's gone, well, all I'm doing is feeling sorry for myself because she's not in my life, rather than feeling like she's in a better place, which is where I try to keep my mind focused at, is remembering that she's in a beautiful place. anyone that dies, they're in a beautiful place. Weird topic, I know. It's just something I came up with today on this Monday. But I guess I'm going to just leave it there and get on to the next topic that I was planning to discuss. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And I wish you all a wonderful day. Blessed be.